Good morning, dear teacher. My name is Milady Jimenez. In this video, we'll talk about using classroom-based language assessment, especially in language teaching and language assessment. Language teaching. Language teaching as second language is probably focused on the teaching and learning of it. For the teacher learning of the language to be successful, the teacher must create or develop tasks where the student is directly involved with the language, putting what they have learning into practice. All these tasks must have as their objective the development of linguistic abilities and can even generate aptitudes positive towards language in students. That is the language teaching involving students with the language tasks that have the purpose of obtaining language teaching and learning. For example, text based on the language of teaching and learning can be the creations of the list of activities that the students are going to do in the summer. For this task, the teacher will give an example and the list will create individuality in the class. The objective of this task is that students can make use of the language, including it in their daily lives, and in turn, awaken their linguistic skills. Another example in another task basis of the teaching learning of the language can be the write and presentation of a short speech. In this task, there will be an interaction between teacher and students. That is, the teacher will help in the writing of the speech and will participate in the presentation. It should be emphasized that for the writing, the students will have prior knowledge regarding the structure of a speech. Language assessment. As its name suggests, language assessment is a model that helps the teacher to assess the knowledge learning by the students during language teaching learning. Language assessments can be presented in form of tasks that ultimately test knowledge, but language assessment spreads much more than just generate information about the language development. In other words, language assessment spreads to obtain real results of the capacities that the students have in the terms of the linguistic ability. For example, a language assessment can be a dialogue. The teacher can provide the students with dialogues so that the participants inspire. Host dialogues will have previously studied a vocabulary so that the pronunciation outside vocabulary can be evaluated. In addition, in this way, language fluency will be evaluated its age and students. Another example for these language assessments, the teacher can implement an activity that generates interest in students, and they now see the evaluation as something complicated. For this assessment, the teacher will have an envelope where inside that will have images that represent a specific vocabulary. And it is now the evaluation of the language requires evaluating the linguistic ability of the students. Then the teacher will ask the students to take an image of the envelope and describe the object. Difference between language teaching and language assessment. Language teaching, implementations of teach and learn. Language assessment, knowledge evaluation. Language teaching, Expert language development, language assessment, get linguistic ability results, language testing, teacher endurance, language assessment, teacher evaluates. In additional information, bundle language teachings and language assessment lets us to a common goal. Why? Because everything that is implemented in the teacher learning of the language at the end of the class is evaluated. In this way, the teacher can have knowledge of the performance of the students and ensure how him to implement new strategies to assist the language teaching and learning. This is all. This is my participation, teacher. Thank you.